Well, there he is, dude. What's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
I'm eating chicken. I just got home from work. How are you?
I'm great. I just had a monster. I got a
All right.
Rogan, and then live on air for you and I'm
Mm,
going to try a concoction of
Adderall.
things.
We're
No.
gonna do speedball.
Three, two, one. Dark Lord.
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where we play and discuss video games from our backlog. My name is Alec, and I'm joined by my best friend ever, James. How you doing, James?
Good. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm doing great.
We're
I just
doing
recently
an
purchased
evening.
something on eBay, and it's exactly what I wanted.
For those confused, check out patreon.com. You can see an extended, not see because we don't do visuals. You can listen to an extended version of this episode where we go on many rants. Anyway, but what we're here today to talk about.
I just can I go get some Lysol wipes and some cleaning tools?
Yes.
It's driving my urethra is itching. I'm so irritated about this.
Oh, that's no good.
It's not really, but you know what I mean. It wasn't a good reference because now it sounds like I have an STD. There's your intro. I don't know how to say this. I'm a very clean person, but then I go to get in my toolbox to grab some of these things while thinking about how I'm going to express to you how clean I am normally. As you can see in my background, I'm fucking clean. There's a Black Widow spider out there.
Oh no.
And I feel like that makes me sound unclean.
I should just leave all this in for the extended.
I mean, I don't mind it. You want to just do the intro again?
No, no, it'll be perfect. So tonight, this evening for you and I,
Smells
we are
weird,
talking about Focus. Focus up.
Oh, my dog's in here. Yeah, she's like sniff. She just doesn't like it.
We are going to talk about God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, Fimbulwinter, boy.
Oh,
I don't know. It sounded good in my head.
God of War Ragnarok is an action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studios and published by Sony Interactive. It was released worldwide in November of 2022 for PlayStation 4 and PS5.
Yeah, dude. We got to talk about that.
It's the 9th installment in the series chronologically. Interesting. I didn't know that. And
Oh, yeah.
a sequel to 2018's God of War.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one. I don't want to, dive into too much, I don't want to start the praise off too early, but man, I really liked this one.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
So
I liked it too. I initially didn't think I was liking it as much, and the game really comes together at the end, way more than I thought it would. And
I think it did a much better job than 2018 of like really diving into a really good story and like how they portrayed everything, how they split up different scenes and different interactions between different characters.
Yeah.
It felt like this was one of the first times a game has made me really feel like I was playing through a movie, truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked to you a little bit about it while we were playing it, and I said that I felt like the game was kind of all over the place a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes together at the end, I see there's a lot of movies that do that, where you kind of Game of Thrones did it, and then everybody's stories kind of come together at the end. And this game is no exception. It did that. It accomplished that really well. And I don't know if this is the right time to talk about that from me, but
no,
it was very cinematic.
Yeah, and I said movie, but I think like a mini series, because when they would split stuff up, and we'll go into more depth later on, I feel like it was more the segments felt like episodes.
Yeah.
So it did break those down really well. But
chapters? What'd you say?
Chapters. That is a great descriptive word.
Thanks.
So-
I'm pretty good at this. I help run a podcast.
So yet again, I forget when I did this last, but I have no notes. I'm
okay.
going to try and remember this stuff in order. You have to keep me truthful here.
We're raw dogging Ragnarok here.
We're raw dogging it hard.
I
fast
got
and
notes.
loose.
We can go with my notes.
I'm keeping it. I'm trying to keep it airtight, but who knows?
Jesus Christ.
So
I'll help you.
Hold on. We're still in the season of James, right?
Yes.
So this was yours.
This was okay. Yeah.
It was. If you didn't pick it, I would have picked it. So
yeah.
there's that.
Okay. Also, yeah. Look at the season of James and ask yourself if I considered you in it at all. Look at the history of James.
I appreciate it. We have Sea of Stars. That was all you. Far Cry 3.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that one.
It was literally all me.
Cocoon was out of left field. I feel like I was not expecting that at all.
But Cocoon was a game that I actually picked because you do love that. You do like that developer a lot. And I thought it was going to be a little different than it was. And I figured you would enjoy it more than I did. But
in our Christmas episode, you had joked about like, oh, we're going to get, Ori 2 and Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight or whatever it was. Where are they at, man?
Shovel Knight. Well, those, dude, honestly,
I need.
Sure, I would have picked them. But after playing through Sea of Stars and you having, we'll just call it a slightly negative reception, I kind of felt bad and I wanted to pick games that I thought you would enjoy more, dude. You're my friend. That's what friends do.
Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. But I don't know. These are games I also enjoyed. And there's plenty, you're going to get to pick one game and then I can pick Ori. And you'll fucking love it.
Oh, yeah. This is number 4 of your 5 of back-to-back picks. So we are moving right along. So let's get into it. So this was on your backlog.
Yes.
All right. Let me get back to my notes here.
I mean, it was my pick, I think it was on both of our backlogs.
If you didn't pick it, I was going to have it later in the year. So we definitely were going to be playing it in 2024 for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I did not pull critic scores, but if I had to guess, this has got to be ranking really high.
Very good, yeah. I want to say it was 10s across the board. It actually ranked, I did look it up because I felt for a while that the God of War 2018 was a better game, and I looked it up and that I saw that is not the general consensus at all. Other people felt that this game was better than 2018, and I thought, okay, maybe I haven't finished it yet, so I don't really have the say in that. So it did better than 2018, which I think was a 10 out of 10. But it was like a 9.8 versus a 9.91 or some shit.
Right.
But it was a little bit of a better reception. So, cool.
Right on. So I did this on PS4, the one we found in the trash last year.
And it's
so
still
I was
working.
able to, it's still just trucking along, dude. And for Christmas, you sent me the PS4, a new PS4 controller, which was really needed because I had some knockoffs that had gotten stick drift after like 20 hours of play.
Fuck. How'd that hold up? Still good?
The one you sent me is pristine still. It's great.
Let me ask you a question about stick drift. Did you ever have stick drift in a game controller before, like newer consoles? Like when you were a kid, did you ever have stick drift?
Not that I can remember, but I definitely...
It's so weird. I never did. I've never had it in anything, but I have it in...
I mean, I don't
controllers.
I don't want to say it's like the quality of our stuff nowadays is just slowly degrading, but I feel like that's what's happening. I don't want to say it, but I feel like that's what's happening,
bro.
Unless you want to pay for all this, unless you want to pay through the nose for a controller. I mean,
that's starting to go away, bro.
No.
More and more third-party companies have been making controllers a lot cheaper. Welcome to fucking Controller Cast. I'm sorry. More and more companies, third party, have been making cheaper controllers with the Hall effect sensors that don't get stick drift. It was first introduced in the Dreamcast controller,
right?
As pictured right here.
Ooh.
But yeah, so more controller companies are doing that, and you're getting like the ones with the back buttons for programmable back buttons and Hall effect sensors for $80, and sometimes mechanical buttons.
Thing, $80. I mean, that's a lot of money. For a thing that's necessary to use the console.
Sure, but that's third party controllers that
Yeah.
have all these upgraded features when a first party Xbox or DualSense controller is like $70. So you pay $10
Yeah,
more, you
true,
get two back
true.
buttons or four back buttons, like the programmable
Right.
ones. And stick drift free sticks. I don't know.
Right.
It's good. It's
Stick drift free
hopefully-
sticks.
hopefully what comes of that is that the companies that make these controllers and make the consoles step it up.
You hear that?
The new
Sony, you're on blast.
well, Sony has already at least tried the new DualSense Edge controller. They're like it's expensive as fuck, 200 something bucks.
Oh,
Has replaceable joysticks. You can just push a button and pop them out and buy new modules if that happens, which is good. But then you're still buying modules.
right. So I was on the PS4, but you had a little upgrade since our last episode.
Yeah, man. I started playing the game on PS4 as planned, and I really wanted to. This was the time. Like I said, I wanted to do it for this game, and I said it was ideal, and I just kind of checked things over and saw like what I had some trade-in value, and there was a just after Christmas deal on trade-ins with GameStop, and I had like a newer console. Like I traded my PS4, and my brother-in-law had given me a couple consoles that I had duplicates of. So, and he gave me permission to trade them in, and he said, "Get
Nice.
that PS4 or get that PS5."
Nice.
So yeah, it was kind of fun actually to go in and end up buying. Like I haven't bought a new console in person in so long, so it was kind of fun.
Nice,
And-
dude.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think it made any fucking difference visually at all. Because I played an hour and a half of this game on a PS4, and then I switched to PS5, and I swear it didn't look any different to me.
Are you on a 4K?
I have quite a nice TV. Again, because my brother-in-law gave me a very nice LG 4K TV.
I mean, is he looking for more siblings?
Family members?
Yeah, dude. Let me get his number.
After the
Does he
after the
does he
show.
have another sister I could marry? Oh wait, hold on, honey. turn it off. Sorry, I'm also married.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's a funny joke, right?
Haha.
Haha.
PS5.
So, yeah, I don't know. Basically, this podcast is sponsored by my brother-in-law. He's a great dude. Ladies. So, yeah, I played it on anyway, dude. I'm sorry. We're so off track right now. Like, we're having a good time, but we're clearly not focused.
we haven't recorded it in a minute.
Ages.
I think this is probably one of our longer stretches of not recording. I think we're over a month
Yeah.
at
Not my
least.
finest.
So
Yeah.
no,
We
you know,
tried to schedule time, but you had to go out of town, and then you had a day where we were going to record, and it just didn't work out. So
yeah.
Silly.
Speaking of which, if you hear like the world's going to end type alarm going off behind me, that means I have to go to work. So
okay, no problem.
But
hope not.
no, scheduling is always just crazy. But we are here now, so we're gonna
here
move
and we're-
down to.
Oh wait, I wanted to say.
Oh, what
I
you
just
got?
wanted to say.
Yeah.
It's just, I have to say it. I got the app on my phone on my Steam Deck called Chiaki for Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to essentially play your PlayStation 4 or 5 on a handheld, and it's fucking flawless. Like it was crazy that I was playing a game at 60 frames per second in my bedroom when my PlayStation was actually in my office at that time. Just it's really cool. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
It works very, very well. And there's even like controller setups because the PS5 controller has like a little trackpad on it.
Right.
So there's like a way that there are controller profiles to make the Steam Deck essentially a PS4 or 5 controller. It just worked really well. I was very impressed with it. It's the same type of remote play stuff that I used with the Backbone for the other games that we played on it.
Right.
It's a open source Linux based program, and it worked very, very well. I don't know. I was blown away by it.
You and I will still have to sit down and maybe set that up or try to set that up, but also set up for our next game because we've talked about that a little bit. But
Yeah.
because I still need to set that up and get that going.
Yeah, we can, if you're,
Um,
well, I don't know how late you want to stay up tonight, but we could do that tonight if you wanted to.
Oh,
I thought,
we'll do it, and if you guys want us to,
Okay.
we'll record it just in case.
if you guys like being punished and piracy,
There you go.
no, it's not piracy.
It's not piracy.
Fine. Yeah, we own ROMs. I mean, we own discs.
Yes.
I'll lend you my discs. I have a copy of this. Greatest Hits, Sony.
Moving
PlayStation
down
5.
Moving down to graphics and art style. Now, the graphics, I think we've already touched on. They were really good. I don't think the PS5 seems to make much of a difference from what you can tell.
Maybe with newer games, maybe. Like, because this game was released on both
Right.
consoles.
Right.
You know, maybe.
Like,
If it was on PS4, it was a 9.999 repeating, and it's a 10 on PS5 for me.
Nice.
What do you think?
I would agree. It looked really good.
Okay.
It looked very similar in quality to 2018. It wasn't too far off. They're using a lot of the same models and things. I didn't see much of a difference in quality. The character models may have changed a little bit because time has progressed in that world. So, you know, Artreus is he's got a little bit more tattoos that have come out of nowhere. And
yeah, man, if I had a kid, I don't know if I'd be tattooing him.
Yeah, who is doing the tattooing? I'm curious. But
honestly, dude, if I had to guess, probably him, because he seems like a mischievous little bastard.
They were really good. Good, just shy of 10, if not 10 for graphics. Art style, really good. It's they got great character models. I think they're
Did you have anything graphically that stood out in a bad way that you want to talk about? Because I saw some things that were just a little weird. I will discuss if you have your ears ready.
I got my ears ready.
So I noticed. Are you familiar with the character model for Faye, the actress that plays her, Karen Ann Woll or something like that? I think her name is. She was in Daredevil.
Yeah. She's been in a lot of stuff. Yes, I noticed hers was glaringly terrible when they do.
Yeah,
when the model is looking straight at the camera. So when you're looking straight on,
sometimes it was really fine, and then other times it was really weird.
It's when they get more of a from the side profile.
Yeah,
it looks okay. But she had a lot of scenes where you were looking like dead in the front of her at her face.
Yeah,
and it was just a blocky mess. The shading, I think, was the problem.
Yeah, that was really the only thing that I can bring up, but it was pretty jarring when I saw it.
But yes, I do remember that. I think it may have been prevalent on, or it may have been present on some other characters, but hers was very, very bad.
Particularly, I don't know if it's because we're familiar with her face normally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because like
she really
did look like her. She looked like the actress, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, just that was really it. Everything else generally looked really good. I really liked the winter atmosphere of this game, like in Midgard, where it was like very like cold. And it just looks good. I feel like it's graphically kind of easy to make it look good too. Like it's like water in a lot of games. Like it looks very pretty. But yeah, that was that. I don't know. It was a 10 for me. Faye's actress, I'll give her a 4 in the game and a 9.8 in real life.
Yeah, dude. But she was in one of the vampire shows as well, like
I never watched it, but I've heard, because I looked it up, like I was like, is that her? Like it was obviously her. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it was very obviously her. Maybe they were just trying to change her likeness enough to where it wasn't associated so heavily with her. But that's all, man. That's it.
She's been floating around the TTRPG space for a couple years, so she's done some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Yeah.
It's cool how some people like are very into the like voice acting and stuff, and then they seem to get into that kind of shit too. Yeah. Are we talking about this game still? I'm sorry. Or is this the Karen and Wool podcast?
We're still in it, dude.
I'm sorry. I know. I feel like we're off track, even though we're actually talking about the game.
No, we're good.
Fangirl, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Going from graphics, we're going to go into sound quality.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Great, dude.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. I don't have any complaints about it, except, I mean, I'm sure my wife would complain about it. But Kratos is a loud fella.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so much of the game was like, you just picture her sitting on the couch doing anything, and so much of the game is just like, like it's.
Right side, brother! Watch out!
It's a little much, but it's part of the game, and that's Kratos, dude. You don't call him the God of War, and he's quiet, you know?
No, dude. Fantastic. We'll go down to voice acting, and I thought all these were, well,
Uh-oh.
okay.
You got a complaint?
So,
brother?
I got a weird one. So,
Let's hear it.
the voice acting, I think was fine. I don't think anybody had like really bad dialogue, or it just they were presenting it weird or anything. I think the all the actors that were portrayed in here and that contributed were top notch on how they sounded.
Yeah.
For me, and I'm not going to get into it later. I'll get into it now. I think the actor choice for Odin threw me off a little bit.
I disagree. I love to disagree with you.
I mean,
but that's okay. You're fucking wrong, buddy.
I was going to do this for 2018, and I didn't do it again for this one. I was going to like look up stuff and try to familiarize myself with some Norse mythology, because I'm not an expert in at all. But I swear, every time I've seen Odin depicted in any kind of media or any,
this is why I like it.
anything, he's like, he looks scary, and like he's a very intense presence.
Dude, I wish we could have had my brother-in-law on this episode.
Dude, call him.
Because you mentioned that, and I mentioned it to him, and then he said, this is what he said. He's like, dude, think about the lore of Odin, and like,
I don't know the lore of Odin, which is why
he gave one of his eyes just for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, Odin's a fucking nerd, bro.
Yeah.
But I do agree. He's like, he is Thor's father, so you think of him as like this bigger, like he's obviously stronger and bigger than Thor, right?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, for a guy that gave one of his eyes for knowledge, like you could depict him a little differently. And I do like the way this game had a different take on so many of these characters.
I will say
included.
The initial shock I got from him coming in the cabin early in the game,
yeah,
it kind of equalized by the end of the game. I got used to him, and I ended up liking the choice. But at first, it was just not who I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
I was expecting
too,
I was expecting like a Jason Momoa structure, right? Somebody who's just like
well,
built,
that's every fucking character in this game, right?
Yeah, I know. And maybe that's because we may be conditioned a little bit with like our cinematic,
Hollywood.
Hollywood and everything. So, that could be me just not knowing the lore. So,
well, I think you're correct. He is generally depicted as like a larger than life character and everything. But I think it's cool though, because he's, as in this game, he's playing more of like a cunning character.
Yeah.
And cunning characters in your, like in D&D and stuff, like they're not necessarily, if you think of a barbarian, you think of Kratos. If you think of a guy that's cunning and talks his way in and out of everything, you think of Odin. So I feel like it's an appropriate character model.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you kind of developed maybe a little bit of a different opinion, I pray.
Yeah. By the end of it, I could have been getting used to it, but it just seemed normal by the time I finished the game. So
yeah,
but I really did like it.
What else is he in? I don't fucking know.
He's in a lot of TV shows. Okay. I forget what his name is now.
You have a much better like recollection of who these people are, I don't know. You know more of like voice acting and stuff because you follow more things closely.
Richard Schiff.
Okay.
As American actor, best known for playing Toby Ziegler on The West Wing.
Okay.
And he was on a couple other things. Not a couple, a lot of other things. Starting all the way back in 1987 in a short film called Arena Brains.
Called what?
Arena Brains? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything you would know. Seven.
The movie Seven?
Movie Seven. He was in that. He was...
I'm familiar, but...
Where'd it go? He was Mark
Brad Pitt's
War.
character.
No, no. Deep Impact.
See, this is shit I've never
He
seen.
was in Ray. I'm skipping over so many things. I'm looking for like ones that I really know.
That's all right. We can move on. We don't have to talk
No,
about
this is super, super important. Man of Steel,
content.
Entourage. I feel like he was like a lot of I don't know if he's been like a leading actor in anything. He's been like in like a lot of like side characters and stuff.
Yeah.
So, anywho.
Yeah. I don't know any of those things. I don't know the guy, but I liked him. He was a fine gentleman, I'd say. He did fine.
But yeah, we're in the voice acting section. But yeah, I thought from a voice acting perspective, everybody was on point all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I want to make a complaint, but I can't.
Lunda,
yeah.
She was the best character, best actress.
No,
she's got a lot of like really, really good qualities.
Brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, she brings two really good qualities to the table. On the table.
Her voice and her acting.
Oh yeah.
What can I say about her? Nothing. Okay, that's fine.
All right, let's go.
Voice acting was good. A lot of returning characters. So if you have any complaints, it better be about a new character. And I don't have any complaints at all. I wish that Mimir talked more in this game. He took a back seat in anything where Tyr was in the game. Mimir did not talk, which was weird.
Yeah,
like literally anytime Tyr was in the room, he didn't talk. But
I think it was because in 2018 we got a lot of like story and exposition through him.
You get a lot more of that at the end of the game once you've beaten it and you do the end game stuff. You do get a lot more of that. But I don't know. He was my favorite character in that game. We did an episode on about sidekicks, and that guy is a great sidekick, and I should have mentioned it.
Yes,
I felt bad for not, because he's fucking phenomenal.
He really is.
Yeah. But yeah, good voice actor. I could listen to him talk all day. I actually did listen to him talk all day, I think.
Is he in anything else? I'm not familiar with him outside of this game.
Don't look it up, because I'll start listening to it right now. It's that good. Okay, so now we're on game mechanics and stuff.
Yes, gameplay and mechanics.
Yeah, so I remember you kind of had a qualm or something with the gameplay of God of War 2018. You said it felt kind of repetitive and stuff. How do you feel with this one? It did.
Now, Ragnarok, so I found that the play style of Kratos, it isn't my favorite. It was a lot of the same stuff. I feel like for Ragnarok, with Kratos specifically, all they did was change his Spartan ability, or give you more options.
And he got a new weapon.
Yes, he did get a new weapon.
But you're not wrong. He really did. Like, if you picked up the end game of either one of them, you could probably manage it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All his mechanics are pretty much the same for his Blades of Chaos and the Leviathan Axe. Those were exactly the same.
However, you did have a lot of things different if you think about it. You had multiple secondary characters, and
I'm talking about Kratos specifically.
Yeah. I know. I like this game, dude, and I love disagreeing with you.
No, so they did add a spear that has story reasons later on in the game. So there was a new weapon, and that was fine. I didn't really like how the spear handled, but
me neither.
But it was a nice change of pace, I guess.
Yeah.
So now
this would be a good time to mention. I liked bear fisting. Are we calling it that?
Air fisting. Well, what? Please explain.
In the last game, my favorite way to fight was, I just love the impact of using like melee, not a weapon at all.
Unarmed.
Just, unarmed.
Yeah, okay.
Barefisted.
Barefisted, I understand.
But that was my favorite way to play in the first game. And this game actually allowed me to kind of indulge in that a little too much. Because there was Lunda made armor that was specific to melee. And it added like a poison effect to your melee attacks and then increased the damage of poison. I don't know if it was overpowered, if I just liked it a lot, if it was easier to manage, but my first thing was always to like throw the axe and then just go in barefisted.
Barefisted. Can we get a t-shirt made? I only barefist.
I only go barefist.
There you go.
Raw fisting? Okay.
I like barefisted better.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know, man. It was cool. I liked that build a lot because it made it really, I could play the way that I enjoyed playing, and it was very strong.
See, and you're alluding.
I honestly think it might have been overpowered,
right? And you're alluding to an aspect of the gameplay that I want you to go more in depth on that I don't like on any type of game because it takes me out of the immersion of playing.
What's that?
I don't look at armor statistics and stats like really ever. It's too for a video game where I want to just go and play. It gets too crunchy for me.
Isn't that the D&D side?
And which is funny because I do like D&D, but it's a different style of playing a game.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
you're not going to get through D&D quick. That's the whole point.
True.
You know, but for this, anytime I have to spend more than like 20 seconds in a menu, I don't like it. So
okay, shit, man. Well, I guess this game you could have just worn any armor and struggled through it if you had to.
Yeah,
did you play middle setting or did you play easy?
I started middle setting and I bumped it down. And I bumped it down for the same reason, but I got a couple comments on it, is time. I don't want to spend a bunch of time struggling through attempting over and over and over again, right? My time is very precious. I feel like I'm next to death. I don't want to die trying to get through a game. I want to get through the game and play it and enjoy it. Especially as I've gotten older, I like the stories of games. I don't. If honestly, if they had a version of this even below easy, I mentioned this on Death Stranding, where like I just walk through and then get to the story beat and play that, I'm fine with it.
They have a version of this game that's so easy you don't have to buy the game. It's called YouTube.
Yeah. So no, and also I was still in that transition weird time of like starting a new job, so I didn't know if I was gonna have time or if I like did all the side beats, so I didn't 100% it.
Fair.
So I kind of like really beelined to the end of the game. So
yeah, I did. The side quest stuff in this game I didn't enjoy as much. I guess we're just gonna get it. We don't. Well, that's part of the gameplay mechanic. Sure. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as I did in 2018. Just in general.
And that's the thing. The side quest that I did do, I really liked.
Okay.
More so than 2018.
Maybe I just didn't do the right ones, but so many of them felt like I was just reading tablets or something.
That's like their collectibles, but did you do the one where it was a Mimir side quest where it was like a massive turtle or something? So in Midgard,
I don't know. I have in my notes, I have giant turlaw. But did I forget this?
It's a turlaw.
It's a giant turlaw. I have that written down, but
so right outside of, I think it's Tyr's Temple in Midgard, that like central hub from the 2018. Off to the side, there's a set of islands, and you see like a geyser going off. But it ends up being a blowhole of like a whale or something. Oh my God, it was so good. It was basically it's this massive creature that that Mimir tricked into basically holding up a building or something, or a series of buildings on these islands. And he wanted Kratos to go and try to set it free.
I remember him mentioning it, but I didn't get to that side quest.
Yeah, it
This
was
is a
really
game.
good.
This is a game where I will go back and play through all of it.
Mhm.
I'd like to, because I'm not on the time crunch of like getting this one done to get a podcast out
Right.
and get into the next game, because there isn't one yet. So it will be one that I intend to play and do more of the side quests on.
Mhm. But I think they really took the side quests. Not that they didn't take it seriously before, but I really feel like they put some TLC into these.
Yeah.
So any time you were to like get off the boat in Midgard, there was something of substance there.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, walk in 20 feet, fight a troll, and then get a chest. There were a couple of those, but there were things you could do.
Yeah,
that I really liked.
I did a Mimir side quest where you went and you kind of learned more about his wife or the girl.
Oh, I didn't do that one.
It was so boring. It was boring to me.
Mm.
I don't know. It was just boring, but I don't know. Maybe I just happened to hit like the really good side quests on the last game,
Mhm.
but some of them just felt like fetchy. Like go and find Linda's armor. That was a side quest I did.
I wanted to do that one, but I didn't have time.
That was that was the I was joking about stinky fist build. So the poison turns everything green, and there's like, and it has like this like noxious cloud look, and you're like punching it, and it just like blows up like these green clouds, and your brother actually called it stinky fist build. And I thought that was pretty funny, but that's what I used. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It was fun to weave in and out of the different weapons. You could like throw a spear from a distance and then go in with the axe. And then when you're at the end of the axe combo, switch to the chains of chaos and then do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the death animations or the like.
Yes. They made
the spear particularly were very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see any of those?
Yeah, I think the one I saw the most was he kind of like flung them up and like I think speared them and then slammed them back down, I think.
Okay. There was one I really liked where he just like kept adding spears to somebody.
Yes.
And it's cool because the concept of the weapon is it's like you can just make another spear anytime you want up to, so you could like impale multiple spears and just keep making infinite new ones in the game, the lore of the game, I guess. But that was pretty cool. I don't know. I loved that they definitely put like the most work into the animations for that weapon because that was the new weapon of the game.
Right.
So, yeah, the gameplay mechanics to me, it played really well.
Who we haven't talked about from a mechanical standpoint is
the
boy. Artreus. We actually get to take control of Artreus and go on little side adventures and things. Yeah. And we get to actually play a ranged character. And
or melee if you want to be aggressive.
Or melee, which I think is why I enjoyed playing his, because it had a lot more flexibility than Kratos to me.
Yeah.
So I loved every one of his sections.
It felt a lot easier. I don't know if it's because he was ranged or because he's inherently kind of overpowered, but it did feel a lot easier.
It did.
But it was fun.
It was fun. I mean, if I was to really think about this from from the eyes of the studio, for the longevity of this series, I think we have been playing through Artreus, aka Loki's, like their version of like an origin, and they're going to set
or something.
they're going to set up his own game. Kratos is going to maybe not immediately in the next game, but slowly take a back seat and make room for the new God of War.
I agree.
So I think so. With that in mind, I think they put a little bit extra sauce on Artreus' sections to ease the fan base into the chance of like seeing him take a more front and center role.
Yeah, I think they clearly wanted you to like him more too.
Yeah.
Like he was a more likable character, especially
he wasn't
near the
totally
end.
A piece of shit this time.
He didn't even really have that much of a piece of shit moment. Even the couple times where he became kind of bratty again, he immediately went and was pretty likable in his own right. So
yeah, he was really, it's his like coming of age story. But I think with that, what we need to do is just go ahead and get right into storyline.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the probably the meatiest part of this episode. I've been going back and forth trying to figure out how we want to do this one without, because we don't want to just go and retell the entire thing.
Yeah,
but
I hate doing that.
What I would like to do is try to talk about some of the moments that we remember and maybe talk about the different matchups, because we run into some situations where Atreus might go with somebody else, and Kratos might go with somebody else as their companion. So there was a lot of moving around of the party, as it were. So
yeah, okay.
But to start off, I want to talk about the intro to the game, which was really intense.
It was very good. It was a great intro. It was a great way to snap right back into the game, and they explained a lot of cool shit. So go ahead.
Yeah. So
tell me what you want to say.
We start off in the first couple of minutes with being ambushed by Freya. And that was a really, remember that? That was like the first 45 seconds of the game, I think. And because she's still pissed and goes on a full-on, attack on both Atreus and Kratos, mostly trying to focus on Kratos, as they're on a sled pulled by wolves. And it was a really intense scene. I think mostly it was QuickTime events and a little bit of navigating.
Right. It would go from between the two.
Yeah.
You'd be like navigating.
Yeah.
But hardly navigating, really, because
it was mostly, just kind of keep you in the center of the trail. But
it was mostly punching a sad woman in the face.
But I cannot remember with this interaction in particular, but with the QuickTime events where it was like a boss battle or a fight with somebody notable, they would do like combo attacks. Like it showed that since we last,
I don't believe so.
No, since we last left off in 2018, it's been a couple years now. Atreus and Kratos are really working together in their fighting techniques
efficiently.
Yeah. So the fighting between them is really, really fun. When they went to go way later, I think, talk to Surtur, and they fought some Valkyries.
Yeah.
Those combos where it was Atreus and Kratos kind of comboing up for like a finisher. Really, really good animations, really, really good fun sequences. Yeah. So I did like that they added that.
Particularly the first one that really I was like, oh shit, they're really doing it, was the Dreki fight. It was like the big, not dragon thing, but it was like the things in the water. There was a dead one, and then Atreus was like I've never seen one of these before. And then you fight it, it's a big, and another one comes out and it's pissed. Of course. And you guys kill it, and like they focus on killing it together, and it was cool because I was like, that's when they kind of got it figured out how to work together really well. They've definitely grown a lot together.
It's showing that their relationship has strengthened and been elevated, and they're really, really getting along. Yeah. So.
I don't know if that happened in that part. There was like one part where he was going to shoot her with an arrow, and he was like, "Please don't make me do this," and then he didn't have to. Yeah,
I couldn't remember if they did it with that, but it was making me think of it. But that finishes up at I think a stalemate. I think they put up phase wards again, and that was helping ward Freya from getting into their home, so they were safe in their little bubble. But
also, whatever the raiders were also warded because of it too.
Yes, yeah.
Please
go ahead.
I was going to say that you end up meeting Thor and Odin. That's kind of where the little flash forward thing happens at the end of the first game.
Well, actually, we're not there yet.
No,
there was something else notable that happened between Freya and Thor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there was a good bit of shit that happened before. You're right.
We get to meet now. It's already been established from the end of 2018 that Atreus is Loki from the mythology. So in the mythology, that the little bit that I know, Loki, in different ways, but had a relationship to a wolf named Fenrir.
Yeah,
and we meet Fenrir as a regular, everyday wolf.
As a little wolf boy.
But he's sick, and he ends up passing away.
Whoops.
Artreus, there's some shenanigans, some little like magic happens that nobody seems to notice, or Artreus doesn't notice. But he's grief stricken. He goes off to clear his head. Kratos goes to find him and then gets into this awesome fight with this massive bear.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That ends up being Loki that like transformed out
Loki
of like
the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually not expecting that. When
neither.
Yeah.
But I do recall being like, I was actually saying this. I was like, man, I really hope he doesn't kill this fucking bear. While I'm fighting it, I'm like, I hope he can just like, put the bear in an armbar and get it to tap out.
Because it was a named fight. It wasn't just like, grizzly
what was
bear.
The name?
I cannot remember, to be honest.
It was I bet if I just type bear fight Ragnarok, it'll show you the name.
It was something quickly. Of note. Bjorn. Yeah.
Which does that mean bear?
Possibly.
Yep. Very cleverly named. Fucking the bear named Bear. Okay.
Still there you
cool.
Go.
Very cool. Actually cooler.
I remember when the name popped up, I was like, well, that's interesting. That's got to be for a reason. But I did not make the connection that it was Artreus in like a transformed rage.
Right.
So.
Me neither.
Really, really fun. It kind of teased at the fact that he's going to be able to transform. This is some like god power he has. Or I think I don't know if it was that he was a god or if it was his giant magic, because they go into that later on too, but it was one of the two.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Loki is.
Point. I was going to say, did he acquire the soul of it? But then I don't know if he did.
Because Loki
I think it must
is
be giant magic.
A giant, but he's also a god as well. So I don't know where he was getting it from. But
yeah, and I guess in my head, until I thought about it, I kind of thought it was just his ability to extract a soul or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I think about it, probably not, because
it could be because while Kratos was going to look for him, he came across a slain bear.
Right.
So either Artreus killed the bear like all regular willy-nilly in human form, or he was already transformed. That I don't know. And it was kind of ambiguous. They didn't really say.
Right.
Also, I was thinking about this while we were taking a break a moment ago. I'm curious how much time elapsed during the Ragnarok story. And I say that
say a couple.
It's got to be from 2018 to Ragnarok. That was 3 years. But I'm saying from the game, within the game we just played that we're reviewing now in Ragnarok, how much time has elapsed while we were playing. Because I feel like it's only a couple days or weeks even.
Yeah.
Like it couldn't have been very long. The only reason I say that is because later on, way later, they come back through that area and the bear's still there. It's just a dead carcass, but it didn't really change much. So they didn't make any animation changes. So it just still looked like the same slain bear. So I'm just a little passing thought, but.
Yeah, it might have been in just a couple days, or maybe it just wasn't something that they felt the need to change enough.
True. So
could have been any of that.
Then, to what you had alluded to a moment ago, we see the end credit, the end scene from 2018 where Thor shows up. That was real fun.
Yeah, I really liked how Thor kind of he didn't really want to like kill you. Obviously, he wasn't allowed to kill you. He was told.
I think he really
just seemed
to.
Like he wanted to, but he wasn't going to. He made that clear. He even revives you, which I loved, how he kind of broke the fourth wall and it starts to go into the continue screen. And then I don't know, this might have only happened to me because I died fighting him, but he kills you, or he killed me when I was playing. And then he's like, no, I get to pick when this fight's over. And then he fucking revives you with the hammer. He like shocks you back into the fight.
That's right. I think that did happen to me as well.
Dude, it's so fucking cool, man.
That was pretty cool.
Oh no. I say when we're done. I'm not leaving till I see the real you. Get up!
But yeah, I don't know. I thought that the fourth wall break of that was really cool. I liked that a lot.
That was a challenging fight, I think, on purpose. It was a fun fight.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, so that was good, and I like how his plan was just to see you actually get really mad, like just to prove that like you're not a good guy anymore. Like he just wanted to prove that to you that you're not the guy that you're trying to always be.
Right.
You know, and I thought that was pretty cool.
And that whole fight turns out was really just to give Odin a chance to talk to Loki alone.
Yeah.
So that was like kind of the first sneak peek or first look at how the game was going to like split your time. So things were happening simultaneously, but we could go back and like play through some of it.
And that's Odin being a sneaky dude.
Sneaky. Let's see. Fast forwarding a bit, we end up going and sheltering with Brock and Sindri. They're back in the on one of the branches of Yggdrasil. And I just say the dwarves are great.
Yeah.
They really gave each character their due in the story.
Yeah.
Are you sidetracked?
I wasn't sure if you were going to say more on that.
Are you sidetracked with cleaning a controller?
The controller is pristine.
Okay.
The controller is clean, dude. It's perfectly clean.
We're working, sir. No.
You're right. You're right. And I've never fucked off while I was working. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. Well, I honestly thought you were going to say more about them than like it gave them their due. So I wasn't sure if you were elaborating on that.
No, they really dove into. I mean, they didn't go like crazy backstory with them. Outside of like conversations that they had, like there was a moment where Atreus was kind of going against Kratos's instruction and like snuck away, but then Sindri came along with him. So Sindri was the companion to Atreus in a couple scenes, and
yeah, and that's I put in my notes. You kind of get the backstory on Brock a little bit.
Yes,
through Sindri, stuff that Brock doesn't even know about himself.
Right.
That was kind of disappointing to hear.
Yeah,
but I think it kind of explains part of it. Like he doesn't look like any other dwarves. He looks different.
Now, was that why he was blue?
I think so. I think all the other dwarves knew too. There was something when you go into the town of dwarves, they literally fucking hide from him. They know something's wrong with him. Something is different. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Because before they had explained it as like the method in which they do their crafting was different. So his skin changed. True. Well, I thought that was the reasoning they gave from 2018.
I think it was, but I don't think it was I think it was just false. Maybe that was like Sindri's answer to it or Brock's assumptive answers. But there are no other dwarves that look like Brock.
So how come Brock's blue and you're not?
Why?
Oh, it's fine. Very good question, actually. You see, my brother's not as careful as I am. In fact, he prefers to work with metals using his own bare hands. Ugh. No gloves. Says it's the only way he can hear what it wants to be. Touch enough raw silver and it changes your skin irreparably. That means forever. I wouldn't bring it up to him, though. You know how sensitive he can be.
I guess that makes sense.
I really liked the dive they took into those. I texted you about this. I was getting real creepy vibes from Sindri in some of those interactions. I think it was just me misinterpreting like his guilt in the situation or like his somberness to his backstory. But I thought he was like, I think I messaged you like, if Sindri takes a turn and becomes evil, I wouldn't be super surprised.
Right.
So, things progressed a little differently, but really fun interactions. So, anything with Sindri and Atreus of note that you remember?
I did, it just in that time period a little. What I do recall was you meet Freya, you go and you seek out Freya, And I just thought it really showed how like far gone Freya seemed to be. She looks upset all the time. Like her makeup is all fucked. Like her outfit looks sad. It's even called like the mourning garb or something like that. I think it had like a name that was like sad sounding. But the one thing that stood out to me is like Freya is like in the first game, she lives in a giant turtle. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Maybe that's why that's in my notes. But she's like got just a dead animal in her tent. And that's like Freya would never kill an animal for food. Like the Freya that we meet initially. But yeah, she just has like a dead animal sitting in her tent when you go to approach her. And I was like, man, it was just crazy that she went that far off from how she had always been.
Just consumed by her with rage and sadness.
Yeah. And that wasn't like directly in your face. Like it's not part of the story. It's just something that you may or may not observe. And I thought that was a nice way to add that in because it tells you a lot about her without actually saying it explicitly.
Right. I did like how Freya was portrayed there, and I did like how they brought her back into the story to the group. And at first, I was a little like, nah. So later on, we interact with Freya. It comes to blows, and there is a fight, and it becomes not a stalemate, but a bargain. So she catches, I think, Kratos unawares. Or her, or him, or Atreus, I can't remember. But anyway, they get into an altercation, and basically Freya has the upper hand and can make a killing blow. But I forget who it was on, and says, "Hey, I'll give you a temporary truce if you can help me break Odin's curse that's keeping me in Midgard."
Right. Yeah.
So she then has to get into the party, get into the group, and then you take her on some of your adventures.
Kind of quickly, she joins the fray. Like, suspiciously fast.
Well, that's what I thought at first. And then later on, Atreus goes off and does something solo or is told to stay back or something. And Kratos and Freya go on a mission, just the two of them.
Yeah.
And they end up making amends, but that whole process, that whole storyline is told similarly to how Mimir would tell stories in 2018, just as you're walking. Kratos and Freya would have those conversations of like, Kratos was telling her about his family and how his life has been just pulled apart by gods. So she started
trauma bond.
Yeah, they definitely trauma bond.
Yeah.
And it's not through cutscenes, it's through dialogue while you're traveling in different zones. And at first,
that's one of the things,
At first I didn't like it, but then I was like, you know what? This is actually a good break from like your standard cutscene.
Well, that's what,
progress.
And I feel like that's a realistic way that people would interact. Like they wouldn't sit down and talk about it. They'd be talking about it while they're walking or something like that. And it's also really nice. Like you said, you can get a lot of story across without it having to stop you from playing.
Right.
And I think that's good. Particularly when I remember when I was playing, they were having that conversation, a lot of it while they were climbing.
Yeah.
And it was like, personally, I think I'd focus on the climb, but that also seems like something two gods would do.
Right.
While they're just, they don't feel like their lives are at risk. You put me on this hanging off the side of a mountain and I'm not talking much.
I think it was the designers were putting the conversation in a place where you couldn't speed up your travel. So I think it was a
very
smart
well
move.
Done.
Yeah,
I think it was
definitely.
smart. Yeah.
So by the end of that, I really did enjoy how Freya and Kratos made amends. I really did like that. It was definitely a good segment.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you saw it coming probably.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna date? My wife asked me that.
I
maybe a little more explicitly.
I don't want them to. I really didn't want to see romance in this game. There were a couple scenes and a couple interactions where I think we're so conditioned to expect it.
For sure.
Like there was, and I'm going to bring this up in a minute, but there was something with Atreus and he was put in a position where in any other form of media there would have been romance, and I was fully expecting it, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
So
well, he's
I
got
could
plenty of options now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to just there's more than one girl out there for him, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, right? We're talking about Angerboda, stupid name. And what's the other girl's name?
Thune?
Thor's daughter? Yeah, Thune, I think is what it was. Yeah.
So
I could see her still hating him somehow. I could see her somehow turning against him.
yeah, it's definitely. I'm really interested to see what they do with the series next.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what they're going to continue. Because now we're jumping ahead a little bit, but Ragnarok, based on the name of the game we just played, has happened, and there's fallout for that. So the people of where do they live? Where does Odin live? I'm blanking on his Asgard. So Asgard is kind of out of commission, right?
Also, I wanted to say, since you mentioned Asgard, Death Stranding definitely takes place in Asgard. Go on. They look like the same fucking model, dude. They look like the same landscape. I loved it. Go ahead. Hideo Kojima.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They literally, it looks so much like it. Yeah, PlayStation. Go ahead.
Anyway, back to Freya and Kratos potentially having a romance. I started playing the Valhalla DLC, but I didn't like what they were doing. It's like a roguelite kind of thing where you fight, die, fight again, and keep progressing slowly. But apparently there's a little bit of like epilogue in it, but I didn't go back and watch it.
I didn't get into the DLC at all, but I wanted to fully play through the rest of the game, and then I will go back to it.
Yeah.
But I was a little disappointed that it was a roguelike type
thing. I bring that up as I'm saying this, I have not finished it, so I don't know what happens. But in the first little bit of it, there's an interaction between Kratos and Freya, and they get very close to each other. And she like is kind of like whispering things, and they're calling on a conversation that the audience, the player, doesn't know. But how it was structured and how the tone of it was very familiar, as in their relationship may have changed in some way.
In a bad way or a good way?
No, in a more than just acquaintances or you know what I mean? You know, like maybe there's like a romantic potential between them, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. So I could see them trying to do something, because Asgard is without without a leader at the moment, and there might be some things shifting around. So anywho, basically there's a throne to be fulfilled, or there's a seat to be taken. So
interesting.
Anyway, there may be something there, but I cannot confirm nor deny it. So, you want to get into Loki's section in the Giant Land, the Land of the Giants?
Yeah, we'll briefly touch on it. It for me, it was too long, man. It was really just.
It was very long.
Excessive. It was very long, and like I got the point. I get it. Like I fully understood what was happening for a very long time past that, but it was cool. I feel like they introduced a character that was new, and that's always welcome in a game where you have so many different characters.
Yeah, so we meet a new character, Angerboda, who's like a giant prophet or messenger or something. I don't quite remember what her deal was, but her sole
she was
existence,
like a messenger of time or something.
Yeah, like her whole she was big into prophecy, and like her whole thing was like, oh, I have to give Loki like he has to be the keeper of souls, like a keeper of giant souls. So she gave him like a bunch of soul rocks, which had the souls of giants in them. But no, you did say this section was really, really long, and I definitely think it was long. However, thinking back on it, I think the problem was the part that was really long was the portion of them getting comfortable with each other, where they're going and like doing her daily chores. of going and
Yeah.
picking fruit or something. Like that should have been shorter. I did like the fight with her grandmother, who was a full-sized giant. That fight was really,
That was
really
really
fun.
cool. Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of forgot about that till you brought it up.
When they went underground and were clearing out a cave, I didn't like that because it was just, it seemed unnecessary. It was filler.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to get your opinion on or just call something out was when they were going into the grandmother's house or
Yeah.
home or whatever, there was a dead snake.
Yep.
Or no, sorry, not a dead snake, a lifeless snake, a soulless snake.
Yeah. They established that you can take a soul without taking the life.
Yeah. So he takes so Artreus, aka Loki, gets like a thought of like, oh, I'm gonna take one of these giant soul stones and
Mhm.
basically he put a soul into this snake and the snake
Yeah.
perks up and goes off. Later on, I forget where it was, but somebody mentioned that they saw a snake and it was growing unbelievably fast
Yeah.
and getting very, very big.
Yeah.
And I think there was some mentions of some wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff with time where it was alluded to that was the world serpent.
Yes. Jormungandr or whatever.
Jormungandr? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was all a little wishy-washy to me,
A
and I
little
really
bit.
wish you knew, and I didn't have to try to think about it, because I was hoping that you just knew that. I didn't look it up. I could ask my brother-in-law, because he could
Yeah.
give you an entire lowdown of everything, but
He should comment on our TikToks.
I'll see if we can get him to do it. Yeah.
All right. But I thought it was really cool. So
Yeah. It was cool.
It was a
it was
fun
cool
fight.
that that was the first when you realized what can happen because of the thing.
Mhm.
Sorry, because of the soul swapping type thing.
Yes.
You realize what its purpose is. And
Yeah.
that's when you know.
And when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. What were some other good bits? They went back to hell, and we got. We don't have to talk too in depth, but they did that whole because we're on the Soul Stone bit. They did a similar thing with the hound wolf thing that was guarding something in hell. I think it was guarding the mask or something. And Fenrir, what
I'm
the
actually
little
not sure what it was guarding, because you didn't.
yeah, because
get the
something
mask piece
because the
there.
mask didn't end up being there. He mistranslated something. I think
Yeah.
what was the issue.
I guess. I don't know. I almost wonder if the mask was trying to help you the whole time in some weird way.
Maybe.
Because why would it even be telling you to do anything if it wasn't telling you, like it was telling it to go to the wolf and then it stopped being a part of it? you know?
Maybe I can't remember if it was established. Was the mask it was helping you find the thing you desired?
Yes.
Kind of thing, kind of like Jack Sparrow's compass. It'll
Right,
always point
yeah.
where you want to go. So maybe the mask was taking him to the large dog on purpose.
Right. Because I want a large dog.
Yeah. So you got this large dog. They do a thing, and it becomes a persistent boss that you have to keep fighting. And at the end of it, they call back to a time when Fenrir, the regular-sized wolf, had passed away, and Loki cast a spell, and not realizing it, he put the soul of Fenrir, I think, in his mother's knife.
Yep.
So then when the fight ended with the dog, he basically, with the wolf, he put Fenrir's soul into the large body of this gargantuan wolf. And I thought that
cool.
was awesome.
I do wish that played more of a part in Odin,
Yeah.
because that's how Odin dies, like in the lore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I was told. I don't have the book of Norse mythology, but I guess he was prophesized that he was going to be killed by a wolf. So he had all the wolves in everywhere killed.
That's right.
And then like his grandson was a wolf or something like that.
Mhm.
So he didn't want to kill his own grandson, so he locked it up, thus fulfilling his own prophecy by making his grandson hate him so much.
Right.
There's probably more to it than that, but that's how eventually Fenrir does get out, and he fulfills his own prophecy because of his own fear of wolves, of his own grandson.
I gotcha.
But,
I gotcha.
I wish it just, but that's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
And I also like that is what we kind of expect to happen. And then what actually happens is like kind of fucking crazy.
So, all right, where are we at? There's one other thing I wanted to call out before we get into the Asgard stuff. Kratos and Brock.
Yeah.
That was
when they go and get the spear.
Yeah, that was a fun bit. You see what Sindri had told Artreus. So Sindri kind of like talked about how Brock died and he was able to bring him back without a soul.
Yeah.
But he told that to Artreus. So then flash forward to Kratos and Brock going to meet this like maiden in the water or something, and they interact. This entity interacts with Kratos, but can't see or register that Brock is there because he has no soul.
Right.
And that was very sad.
Yeah, it was kind of short-lived, but his reaction made me sad more than anything. How he's like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, yeah, he probably had suspicions the whole time.
Yeah.
It would be an honor if you might bless it for us. Are you, hello? Hello? The fuck was that? She acts like I weren't even here.
Mermaids don't speak to our corporeal bodies. They speak to a part of our soul. A part specifically you might be missing.
Fuck! Damn it, Sindri, you lion cat scrubber! I knew it. I died. I fucking died! The fuck you want?
That's also when you get the riddle that Mimir doesn't know the answer to.
That Brock tells him?
Brock tells him a riddle and he can't figure it out.
Did they ever have a resolution to it?
Oh man, dude. It's you go to Brock's funeral and it fucking almost, I'm not even kidding, I almost cried. I got choked up on it.
I don't know if I registered it then.
You got to watch it. You got to watch it. Because I went at some point.
Because I went to the funeral and
what?
I went to the funeral where they do the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what gets larger the more you take away from it. That was the riddle. It solved a couple. He said a couple suggestions, and Brock was really happy that that Mimir didn't know the answer to it. At the end of the funeral, he finally realizes what it was. It's after Sindri like leaves, does his part and leaves, and then he just walks away, doesn't care to talk to anybody, doesn't say anything at the funeral. And Mimir says, "A hole." And Kratos is like, "What?" And he's like, "A hole. The more you take away from it, the bigger it gets." And that's just a metaphor to what Sindri is feeling. Because his sibling was everything, and he lost, that was everything he cared about. And also some other things, since we're talking about that, I don't want to forget to mention this. Sindri doesn't give a fuck about cleanliness anymore. He had blood on him.
Oh, man.
He was dirty. He touched things that he wouldn't normally touch at the funeral.
So we definitely glossed over how Brock died. So we'll need to circle back. But once that happened, Sindri's transformation is kind of like Freya's. He spirals.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite bits, or something they decided to portray finally, was actually showing the teleportation he can do.
Yeah, how he's not even trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just doesn't care about anything anymore. He's just doing and who knows what he is doing.
Yeah.
That's what's scary, because he is clearly very powerful.
Yes.
Yep.
And I could see that him coming back in another game, and for a different reason than I thought initially before. I could see him having an evil turn and maybe taking revenge, because I think he's definitely blaming Kratos and Atreus, because they won't do what everyone wants them to do, which is just chill,
Leave it alone.
and play ball. Just
Yeah.
leave it alone. Just try to get along, and they refuse every time.
Yeah.
And it's they I forget the line he chose exactly. Maybe I'll do a snippet, but it's like Sindri was saying, like, you guys just take and take and take and literally give nothing back.
Yeah.
Except destruction and heartache, and you are ripping our lives apart. So you can take a moral high ground, or what you see as a moral high ground. And
I don't even know if it's a moral high
Yeah,
ground,
maybe-
really. I think it's kind of selfish.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Sindri, I'm so sorry.
No. No, I don't want to hear it. You don't know what sorry means.
We're not letting Odin get away with this.
Would that be the Odin you invited into my home?
We were all fooled.
But some of us were bigger fools than others. Aren't we? I gave you everything. My skills. My friendship. My home. My secrets. My treasures. And you just kept taking. And now what have I got? Not even my family. You want sorry? This is what sorry looks like.
What can we do?
We. There is no we. There's only you. No matter what the cost. So what you can do is get the fuck out of my sight.
But that last scene of I don't know if it was the last scene, but it basically got really close onto Sindri's face, and he looks dirty and just worn out. He might have looked at the camera. I cannot remember, but it felt like he did. And he just
I think he didn't look at anything.
He
man.
just
Just look through the camera.
Yeah, like into the middle distance, and just like it almost like sizzled a little bit, and he just vanished.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, man, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, it was sad, but probably one of my favorite parts of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, people like emotions.
So we have very much glossed over the whole Tyr arc.
Did you think Tyr was bad? Did you have suspicions of him?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't like him. I never fucking liked him.
Something was off. Something seemed off with him. So they go and they find Tyr, the Norse mythology's god of war, who has now become a pacifist. And I won't go too far because it's way too convoluted, but he ends up being Odin in disguise. My question is, did they find Odin already in disguise? Or did they find Tyr and then later on there was a switcheroo?
So they did not find Tyr because you find Tyr later on. If you go and do the side quests.
Damn.
Not very interesting, though. Not an interesting interaction, really. Maybe there's more that comes from it. Maybe he gives you side quests, but they actually find him locked up in a cold area and they're like talking to him and he's like, I think I need to process. Oh, that's right. I think they tell him to go to Sindri's house when it's not Sindri's house anymore.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I just need to take time to process what you told me. Because they tell him like Odin's dead. You're free now. What are you going to do? And he's like, I think I just need time to process this. It was like, it felt like they were just like, oh, well, we got to do this. We have the character model already and the voice actor. It didn't feel meaningful at all. But that he exists. He exists. And it was not ever Tyr.
Damn.
It was always Odin. Odin did that to get eyes on where you guys were. And I guess there was a scene where Odin mentions something before he calls him Loki in front of everybody. He mentions something that as the player, you know that he's not supposed to know it, but, and I didn't pick up on it, but I was told this. He mentions something that gives it away, that he knows what's going on at Sindri's house. in some conversation interaction with him and Kratos when it's just the two of them, he slips it in there about something. He makes some kind of reference that only him, like only that group of people would know, and Kratos didn't pick up on it.
Do you remember what it was?
But I didn't either. No, I don't.
Dang.
I can look it up if you want to talk about it.
Well,
but
I'd be curious, but
yeah,
we don't have to go on it. But see, and that's the thing. This game was really good about hiding stuff.
Yeah.
Just adding more layers to the story. You mentioned, we already have the voice actor and the character model. I didn't like the voice of Tyr. It was too bland. It was just like the most bland American voice that you can imagine. Like everybody,
it sounded like a pacifist's voice.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I mean,
it was a
everybody's
boring
voice,
voice, but I had to have been on purpose.
Every character had like personality, and his was so from like his how he like the cadence he spoke and just how he talked through his dialogue was just blah. There was just nothing to it.
Right.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Anyway. He sounded like every fucking hippie guy, which he also was.
Right. He was also fucking massive. He was like, what, 9 foot tall? Like
he was a lot. Yeah. Anybody that's taller than Kratos looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was stringy. Like, how was he ever a God of War when he has zero muscle at all? The guy can't even lift his own arms.
I think in that version of the God of War, their God of War was like a very good tactician and like being able to lead warriors into battle. Kratos was just like bloodlust and combat incarnate, where he himself was the force of war and destruction. So, oh man. So yeah, that Tyr's bit, that was crazy. That whole scene where Brock of all people was like, hold on, what's going on? And
he
just
said,
like,
why the fuck do you keep calling him Loki?
Yeah.
And that was like when it all fell apart.
Yeah, and then Tyr or / Odin just breaks that character and is like, why are you always fucking talking? And just stabs him.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Or he was like, you never shut up, and just,
yeah,
gutted him like a
weird
fish.
that was enough to kill him. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but he was also very recently injured, I guess. Anyway, in the whole fight with the realm tears.
Oh, that's right, because they had just finished that up. Okay. Man.
Okay. So I looked it up a little bit, and I know this is important. First of all, Tyr apparently has the same like phrasing and vocal cadence as Odin.
Oh.
Like a bland American guy, you said? So that's one hint of it. Also, the fact a lot of people are saying the fact that Tyr was just fucking happened to be in the first place that you look. He wasn't hard to find. That's also very suspicious. You check one place, boom, he's exactly there. And then I guess
Odin knew we were looking for Tyr.
Right, yeah. Tyr states that Kratos was a Spartan soldier within 5 minutes of meeting him. Like, he just knew that, I guess, which is kind of odd. And then later, Odin first shows Atreus around Asgard. He comments on how Mimir hasn't lost his sense of humor.
Making what would sound like assumptions, but they were actually comments made with, like, the knowledge of conversations that were had.
Yeah.
Okay. Just subtle enough to be easily missed, I think. And that I
think you wouldn't catch those things until you were fully honed in on your second playthrough, knowing what happens, where you're more than just suspicious of Tyr. You're trying to find these things that he gives away. You're trying to find reasons that the characters missed. You're instead of looking for details, you're looking for proof.
I gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that people say.
Yeah, I really didn't like when I thought it was Tyr, even though I didn't like Tyr. I didn't really like his sections. They went back to the elf area, and even from the last game, I hate the elves. They're so hard to fight.
So fucking racist.
No, they're so hard to like fight and all that. Almost as bad as the hag witches or whatever they were. Banshees, I forget.
Oh yeah, they're just good. You can range attack them, but
yeah,
I just didn't like Tyr for the fact that even if he was a good guy, even if he was the best guy, he's a pussy and he's boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. What is your purpose in this game? He like literally everything he said was always like, well, I don't know. Why do that? Like, let's do, exactly what fucking Odin wants. But he did say he would always like go against what you're like, what you want to do. I do like how Brock always called him out like on stuff and he's like, oh, I'm glad you're okay. And Brock's like, yeah, fucking no thanks to you.
Yeah.
Like
and that
after something occurred, he just
Yeah.
always Brock's abrasive personality just fit in so well as a counter to Tyr.
And that makes me wonder if that's why Odin as Tyr wasn't interfering, because he didn't want to help them really. He wanted them he wanted that fight to go poorly. He wanted he didn't want to like blow his cover because he's presumably much stronger than Tyr. So it was easier to get what he wanted by stating that he's a pacifist and not helping them when they really needed the extra set of hands.
Yeah. I guess another thing, Atreus mentions Faye and Tyr, and then Tyr responds, I remember that name, and doesn't like ever speak anything more. It was kind of suspicious.
Yeah, because Tyr would have been like imprisoned forever. But yeah, Tyr was like the actual Tyr was imprisoned for
a long time.
A really long time. So Faye would have never met Tyr.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's okay. Okay. That's interesting.
There's probably so many little hints because I'm just reading a Reddit post where it's like the giveaway that I actually did catch on my second playthrough, and there's scrolling of it. So I'm going to close out of it. There's obviously other stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To try and point this conversation in the direction of an end, Asgard.
Yeah.
We meet a couple people in Asgard. We interact more with Thor. He's
and Heimdall.
I was gonna save him, but everyone's favorite character, the nicest gentleman I have ever seen on screen, Heimdall. My God, I hated him.
My note on him is Heimdall's small dick energy. He really did. He just had such a whiny aura to him.
Oh yeah. Didn't your wife she was sitting next to you was like, are you gonna kill him?
Yeah, she's like, I hope you fucking kill him. I was like, well, that's the plan. I can tell you that.
That is the plan.
It was a tough fight, but and you know how there's like voice lines that they say over and over again during a fight?
Yeah.
You don't notice it as much when you're playing it, but like it has to be very annoying from like an outsider's perspective, listening to small dick energy on repeat as your husband fails miserably.
Yeah, that one, even on the easy difficulty, I think it took me 2 tries to get him because I didn't quite figure out the mechanics.
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough.
Once I did figure out the mechanics, it was a lot easier though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way that goes. Like it's like once you get in the cadence of how the fight is going and you learn the abilities, then I finished the fight without any issues. But it's like getting through the phases and knowing.
Yes, if you haven't played yet and have not this version of Heimdall is not the nice, friendly, helpful Idris Elba version by any means. He is his power is foresight, and he uses it to just
kind of cool
in like such a dickheadish way.
Yeah.
He's better than everybody outside of Odin. And I think even some of his interactions, his lines with Odin was a little snarky, where other people probably wouldn't step over that line. He still obeyed Odin, but he was a bit snippy.
Yeah. I guess they mentioned how he had like ridiculous loyalty to Odin.
Mm-hmm. He also looked like a teenage pop star.
He's some guy you would want to punch if you met him.
Yeah,
everything about him was punchable.
Well, he had like
except for actually punching him, which seems impossible.
He had like the NSYNC Justin Timberlake ramen noodles hairdo, where it was like really tight and curly on his head. It looks so
they did
terrible.
Such a good job making him hateable.
Oh yeah. He was in like a toga or something. It was like
fucking hit him, dude.
It was so
Catch
bad.
him by surprise.
It was awful. So yeah, we meet him. we meet Thor again. Thor is still just a lot of grief in this game. We had Freya still grieving. Sindri ends up grieving. Thor is still grieving over his sons from the last game.
Yep.
And apparently he has a drinking problem and he takes up drinking again.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking wild.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, but that was a good time.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking classic. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Yeah, dude.
That was real fun.
It was. I feel like it was a good kind of step out from the seriousness of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and it suddenly just had like a fun moment, and then he helps you when he's drunk.
Yes.
Like he agrees to go with you for the next piece of the mask and he's just drunk.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was really fun.
I feel bad for his family. All of it.
Yeah.
It's just as the generations go on, they're just playing victim of like the people above them's decisions, you know. And then Atreus actually is trying to relate to him a little bit, which is kind of sad. It makes you feel bad because he's like, you couldn't understand. Like Thor says something like, you couldn't understand what I go through.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, the son of a god who's a half giant. What, how could I not understand you? Because they have the same description on paper.
They do. Yeah.
Living in the wake of, like living in the shadow of my father kind of thing, you know? So there's a lot of, and I think ultimately that time that they had together is what I think Thor knows that his dad is a piece of shit the whole time. And I think Thor knows that he starts feeling like maybe Atreus and Kratos are not the bad guys.
Yeah.
In this, I feel like he knows that, but he's just stubborn and he feels like he needs to fulfill his duty.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking sad shit too, man.
You know, with all the jokes we made about the Angraboda section offline, but you know, I feel like an underlying theme across this whole story in each group of characters, and we have a couple groups that are falling into this. It's like the latest edition of like a Fast and the Furious movie. It's like a story about family.
Yeah,
you know, it's there a lot of troubling family dynamics, and they're trying to just navigate them. Are they good enough for their fathers? Are they good enough for their partners? In Thor's case, for their kids. In Kratos' case, and in Thor to his daughter, Freya's loss of her son. There's a lot of just family dynamics that they are touching on, and it's a lot. But how they go about portraying it in the story, it is done so well that it doesn't feel like it's too much,
right,
to digest. So, man, it's good stuff.
It's just great.
So the last bit to touch on, I'd say, because there's going to be some gaps in here, but we have the final confrontation with Odin.
Yeah.
So how'd you do in that fight?
Wasn't tough.
It wasn't. I think it was just putting a bow on the game. It was like, you know what? You've played through all this many hours of stuff. Let's just put a bow on it and try to have a fight for the sake of something to play through. But
yeah,
our real focus is to get to that final cutscene and to that, you know, that story beat.
I don't think, well, Thor was a better fight, I think, than Odin was.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that makes sense because, like I said earlier, Odin is not a fighter, really. He's a clever guy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he wouldn't necessarily be super strong, but I don't know. It was...
He ended up actually dying or being killed by Freya, correct?
What?
Right? Am I misremembering? It's Odin.
So...
Or does she intervene and help?
Oh, dude, wait. Just want to mention the whole assault on Asgard, how, like, the dog is there, like, Fenrir's there, and then Jormungandr, whatever, the giant snake, is there, just fucking, wrecking shit. No, what happens, Atreus takes his soul and puts it into like, one of the soul stone things, and that's right. Kratos gives it to Freya, and he's like, I told you I wouldn't deny you the opportunity to get revenge on him if that's what you wanted.
That's right.
And she makes the decision. I'm not going to kill him. This isn't my role. This isn't what needs to happen. And she's clearly has moved on from being a vengeful person throughout the whole game. You see that she's clearly grown a lot. And then out of nowhere, Sindri comes in, takes it, smashes it with a hammer, and fucking leaves.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, that guy is always watching. He's always angry. And I hope he's not like the villain of a future game, but he's obviously
it would be so sad.
A conflicted character, but I don't want to kill him, you know?
Yeah. See, I was getting confused because we didn't mention earlier you find when you're with Freya and you go meet the Norns, the tree that Odin attempted to hang himself on, and you find the noose that's still hanging from the tree.
Oh yeah.
So something in the lore, I think
she was able to like kind of wrestle him down a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was a moment where in the fight with Odin, she tries to assist using that noose, and that
it was helpful.
Didn't work. But yeah,
I think it was part of what actually got him taken down,
possibly
before the soul was removed.
I think I finished this game over a month ago, so I'm trying to piece stuff together, but I just remember that. Yeah, I forgot about the Sindri part. Sindri, we've been seeing over the last 2 games the origin story of Atreus into Loki, and we're also seeing Sindri's epic villain turn. Like so sad.
Yeah,
so sad. All right, so.
And that would be the time where if we were better and more organized, we would talk about the funeral part. But we've done that already. Just rewind it.
Man, what a game.
Good game. Sick place.
So I think that's a pretty good discussion. We've been going at it for a little bit. Any final thoughts?
I gave the storyline a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
I think we touched all the main things of it. I did put in my notes giant turtle. I like that you do go back to the giant turtle. Yeah, I like that you go back, and it's actually like an event that you go in and it's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to mention this. We should have talked about this 4 hours ago when we started this.
Let's get it.
At the end of God of War 2018, I said I wanted to take time for playing this because they wouldn't make a game where you already have all these abilities and you're strong and you have everything all sorted out, like if it did take place immediately after.
Right.
And I hate how like they do the Assassin's Creed move where they just strip you of your abilities somehow. That's annoying. So how do they pull it off? Fimbulwinter weakens magic.
Okay.
And so when shit happens and you guys are like, we have to go out, you've lost a lot of your ability. Like your fighting ability is diminished.
Mm-hmm.
Thor brings it up. He's like, are you trying to remember your old, how to fight? Like, are you trying to remember all your old moves?
Right.
Like it was another little fourth wall break thing.
Yeah.
And then Kratos goes and gets out armor that you would presume is the end game armor. And he hands it, like he like puts it on and it's no stats. So Fimbulwinter weakens magical things. And it was a really perfect way of explaining all of your talents being reset and everything. You have to build them back up. We all knew it was going to happen because you can't start out the game with 400 abilities. It's not fucking Mortal Kombat.
Right. Because later on, in a couple years, people are going to come back and be like, oh, do I play Ragnarok first or 20? They're just going to like grab one. So it's going to happen. Yeah. There is a world or a player where they're going to go directly to this game.
Yeah.
So it works. I like it.
Yeah, it was cool that you start out with nothing again, but there was a very, very clever but necessary explanation for it. Not just like Thor shocks you so hard you lose all your cool shit, which maybe would have made sense too, since he kind of technically kills you in the fight. But
right.
I like how Thor broke the fourth wall a couple times in that, and then I just thought that was a very good explanation. 10 out of 10. The World Tree Squirrel, I didn't do a fucking single quest for that guy. I couldn't stand him. But when we played Jotun, I mentioned how the World Tree Squirrel was in it, and I was like, yeah, he doesn't even play a part. I wish they would have done that. I think I specifically said that. He's a character in this game, and I didn't care. So I lied on Jotun. I don't care about the squirrel.
I think it was it was a way for them to give you more
Side
collectibles /
Yeah.
side quests, because the collectibles became something that involved a fight with those like weird monster things.
Yeah, I don't care.
So I did like the personality that Radagast
Ratatouille, yeah.
that Ratatouille had. So
Yeah.
I did like that. The attempt was there. So
I like how he starts out really nice and you ignore him and he gets really rude.
yeah.
He's like, "Hey, fuckhead," or something like that. Like it's pretty funny. I like how this game, it's not like all old Norsey people. Like they talk in
Right.
a more modern way, the way that we talk, and it makes it a lot more
Mm-hmm.
personable and less try hard feeling. It was really good. The
Right.
berserkers in this game, instead of Valkyries, they're the gravestone things that you stick the hilt of the sword in.
Yes.
I fought 3 of them. I was actually seeking them out. That was one thing I wanted to do, was complete all of that. They are not nearly as hard as the Valkyries were in the first game for me.
I think I did one of them.
I killed 3 of them. They are hard. They were difficult for me, but I couldn't beat a single Valkyrie in the first game. This game,
Yeah.
they weren't that hard. But Stinky Fist build, I think, is a little strong. So
Yeah.
I think
Love
it
it.
really did more damage than necessary.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, did you have a favorite boss fight?
Ooh. I liked the grandma, the giant, in Angerboda's part, because I liked the space you were in, and it wasn't just, you do damage to the big pool of hit points. It was like, okay, you've got to like stun them, move around, and navigate the map. I really liked how that was structured. And I did like the 2 Valkyries when you were getting Surtur to agree to help you.
Yeah.
To start Ragnarok. So I liked the grandma fight a lot more. Overall, the Valkyrie fight, I really liked the animations that they did where Kratos and Atreus were like comboing their moves. So I like that a lot.
I really liked it. Stood out so much. I don't remember what it was called, but there was the boss fight where you're playing Kratos and Freya's helping you, and you go and you get her to be able to leave the realm.
That big rift dragon thing.
Yes, that thing was so
Ooh.
fucking cool. And it was
Yeah.
very classic God of War, just huge scale thing with the quick time events and everything. And the way that you kill it was so fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
She closes the realm when it's halfway in and just cuts its head off.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. It was so good.
I since we started this, my YouTube algorithm has gotten very video game heavy, and the Game Ranks channel shows up on my algorithm a lot, and they did a top 10 of like most out of nowhere boss fights, and that one that you just mentioned was like one of the top 1 or 2, because it's like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, and then bam, there's a fucking dragon in your face. Like it just came literally out of nowhere. So
yeah.
It was real
called
fun.
Nidhogg.
Nidhogg. What a name.
Yeah. I know. It's a legendary dragon of Norse mythology. But yeah, that was cool.
Love it.
It was my favorite boss fight by far. The 2 Valkyries was cool because the Valkyries specifically gave me a lot of trouble in the first game. So it was fun to be able to say I killed 2 of them at the same time. I felt really, really smart. Do you have a favorite section or realm in this game? Because they were a little different. We get to see some new ones.
I did like, I think it was Freya's home realm.
Yeah. Yep. Best one. It was pretty. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of water.
Once you got to the 2 wolves that like chase the moon and the sun, so then you could trigger whether it was night or day, and then the map would change. I did like that.
I changed it to daytime, which you're supposed to, and then I accidentally immediately changed it back to night. And Freya was just like, "Why are you doing this?" It's just, and he's like, "I wanted to see it nighttime again," or something like that. And then she changes it back, and she's like, "Okay, thank you." I like
That's
how
good.
just kind of, again, a little bit of a fourth wall break kind of thing, because it's like I think the game probably knew it was an accident. because I did it 3 times back to back to back.
That's funny.
Favorite weapon? Question mark.
I got to give it up to, well, this time I got to give it up to the bow with Artreus.
Fucking. Did you use a specific bow? Because there was 3 of them. Do you remember which one you used?
I don't think so. I think for using it as a damage dealing weapon rather than a tool to get through puzzles, I didn't see much of a difference. Like that probably was due to what difficulty I was playing on.
Okay,
but I like the mechanics of using a ranged weapon, but also it being strong enough to have him go in close range and use it as like a staff.
I was a little worried he was going to break it. Like the way he opened a chest with it too.
Yeah.
Like kind of use it as a pry.
Well, it's a magical weapon and all that. But with Kratos, I got to give it up to the Leviathan axe. I still like that one a lot more than the blades or the spear.
Dude, they all were so cool, but I think that just the Leviathan axe as a weapon in general is my favorite.
I think
for the game out of them all
since 2018, that I feel like the Leviathan axe has really become the icon for a weapon, because it was in the early days. It was like the Blades of Chaos, like that was like such an iconic weapon, and I really think they revitalized what a really cool weapon can be for this character and for this game line with the Leviathan axe.
Yeah, I like how it kind of just counters Mjolnir. Is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Thor's hammer?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's an axe is cooler than a hammer. It's a sharp hammer, essentially. So it obviously is cooler. But dude, I wish I had a weapon that I could just like put my hand up and it returns to my hand. That's such a cool thing to have in anything. So Leviathan axe is the best weapon besides Stinky Fist.
Stanky Fist.
Stanky Fist, dude. It's the opposite of Stanky Leg. Oh, did you use any of the cool shield stuff? Did you?
No.
I had the one, I think it was Onslaught shield, where if you time the block, you would get like a really big knockback on like shield slam.
Mm-hmm.
You would fuck things up, dude, because there was a lot of stun with that, and if you used one of the add-ons or trinkets or whatever the hell they're called that increases your amount of time to block, it made it a little easier to get those perfect timed blocks.
Right.
Shield would turn red and you would do massive damage with the shield slam. That was fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got to say about that.
Right on.
It's been 9 hours we've been recording.
Oh my God. It's like 3 days later from when we started.
Yep.
All right. So why don't we get into the end of our episode with what we are going to be playing next. So, James, for your final... Hold on, final?
Nah, dude, I still have 3 more.
No, you got 2 more.
Do I really?
Sea of Stars, Far Cry, Cocoon, God of War. No, 1 more. You're.
I was like, yeah, I get a freebie.
Ha.
Don't count. You picked Cocoon.
I did not.
Check the record.
I don't know, dude. I don't think I did. What is of our season of James? What is our last game? Wait, what's our next game to end our season of James?
This might be the second most James selfish pick, but Metal Gear Solid PlayStation 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it so far. I'm excited.
Yep. Are you? Are you actually excited about it?
I am.
Be honest with me.
I genuinely am. From afar, I've watched, I think you play or back in the day, and like I've seen some stuff online, but it's Hideo Kojima, lot of background there, so there's a lot, and I just never really knew where to get in, and we're going back to a PlayStation 1 game, so it's like we're going really far back. So if I can get it to work on the Steam Deck, I'm all in. So sorry, do you want to expand on why you're picking it? or any further?
I rented it multiple times when I was a kid, so I did enjoy playing it. I want you to play it, and I want to be able to talk about the story of it and everything. I think it's like Hideo Kojima's like breakthrough game where it really put him on the map. I feel like it has a good mix of like Hideo Kojima's bullshit as well as Hideo Kojima's really good story writing, and I feel like it's gonna hold up well. I haven't touched that game since I owned a PlayStation 1 as my primary console.
Is that one top down as well, or is that like third person?
It's top down, I guess, or it's like third person kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like, I don't know how to describe it, dude.
Is that the one where you can hide in a box?
Yep. But that's every Metal Gear Solid game.
Oh,
There's
is it?
probably
Okay.
even a part of every Hideo Kojima game. He loves boxes, that guy. But I don't know. I'm excited to hear how you feel it held up, versus my nostalgia, I guess.
I got you.
Because I think
yeah.
mechanically it's going to hold up well. And I think visually, somehow, even though it's a very old game, I feel like they hit the perfect like peak of graphics for the PlayStation 1 without making it stupid.
Okay.
And you'll see what I mean, I think, when you play it. I'll help you get it set up on the Steam Deck, or I'll lend you my disc or something like that for, just in case Hideo's listening. It's also on PlayStation Network, I think. You can get it there too, but
yeah, I've got PS
it.
Plus and all that, so if worse comes to worse, I'm sure I could get it there.
Yeah. And if not, we'll figure it out. I've got multiple. I've got a PS3 copy of the game. I've got a PS1 copy of the game. I'll just give you one, and we'll go from there.
Sweet. Can we get a quick Metal Gear?
Metal Gear.
There it is.
That's I might have torn a vocal cord, dude. I'm 19 hours into being awake right now.
I love it.
I think as the games go on, the gear gets longer. It goes into like Metal Gear. Yar.
Oh my god. Hit us up on social media. Give us your best Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
Yeah. Duo us or whatever, however that works.
Merle
Gear.
Fantastic. All right. So our next game is going to be Metal Gear Solid from the PlayStation 1 console. I think the last thing to do is just kind of do some housekeeping here. Check us out. We have a link tree, linktr.ee/321backlog. It's got everywhere that we can be found. Hit us up on there. Let us know what you're liking about these episodes, if anything. Let us know what you hate about these episodes. Do we take way too fucking long to get to any point? We need to know.
Yeah, I want some serious feedback.
We are in we are kind of like in our unofficial season 2 right now. So 2024 is everything season 2 for us right now. It'll still stay in order on your podcast feed, but we did split it up there. We appreciate you listening. As always, check us out, patreon.com/321backlog as well. You get episodes a week early, and they are extended cut versions of those episodes. So you think our tangents are bad right now? They're even worse on Patreon, so go check it out. It's real fun, real ridiculous. So, anything else for us?
Final plug, if applicable. How'd I do?
I already put it in.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I meant my physical plug. Wink, wink.
Oh shit, dude. Airtight.
Airtight. That's going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate it. We will see you next episode.
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Gets bigger the more you take away.